Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of KPW War Zone. It is I, Tapey Styles, calling the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And tonight, we have two ignition contenders tonight. Two men will have the opportunity to cash in their chips and enter the Four Corners Contenders bout at Ignition on January 31st to determine who will get the next World Heavyweight Championship match. Whether or not it will be Pando or Corey Sinclair that will be meeting them across the ring sometime in February. Well, that is just the magic question there. That is just the $1 million question. But what is undeniable is that one of these two men to kick off the show will be getting that opportunity. We'll be seeing Nick Flawless, Greek Machismo himself, go one-on-one against the record breaker David Rush as he looks to get a golden opportunity. Neither one of these men have ever challenged for the World Heavyweight Championship, but this could set them on the right path. Also, still to come, if you want to talk about contenders, look no further, because one of those principal contenders in the Four Corners match coming up in just a few short weeks, the leader of Bunker Hill, Popcorn Papi, will be in singles action here tonight, going one-on-one against the Diamond Dragon himself, Opulence. And it's not just all about opportunities for the World Heavyweight Championship. Potential gold mines afoot here tonight, because the KPW Tag Team Champions are in town. Ricky Rhombus, Bam Dardino, the BamBus. They'll be in action, non-title action against Big Bernard, Headband Tommy Tanks, collectively known as the Inkfluence, later on tonight. And of course, our main event of the evening, we have yet to find out who this mystery opponent may be, but we do understand that our second ignition contender this evening will be featuring the Monarch, Oliver English. That could be a real interesting dynamic there, seeing Popcorn Papi representing Bunker Hill, Oliver English, should he survive tonight, represent Parliament. Not to mention Hosway also being in the ignition contender. But before we can get down to any nitty-gritty, let's head right down to the ringside. As I'm receiving word here, ladies and gentlemen, it appears we have an altercation in the back. Let's get some cameras back to see what is unfolding. Let's waste no more time.
This is the guy, gentlemen. He's not credentialed, and he's not gonna lay a finger on me until ignition. Oh my God, Pierre, you're so pathetic. Still hung up on last year's business. I told you that I was gonna break you one way or another. This detail isn't for my well-being. It's for you. In case Bloom and Bilko didn't make it clear enough at Toxicity, you're on my time. Yield your time to me now, and I won't have to defend myself later. Have some restraint for once, Pierre. You reach past these guards, and I will sue your ass. You want me that bad. You do it on my time. You get it at the end of the month like everybody else. Bloom and Bilko will gladly kick your ass again if that's what you need.
Whose spirit are you trying to break now, you gutless sack of shit? You knew damn well that probationary period ran out, and instead of handling your business like a man, you hide behind security. Was the scheme not good enough for you? They weren't capable of ending my career. We'll see at Ignition whose spirit is gonna break first. You wanted to chip away at my reputation so bad? You wanted my place in the totem pole? I'm not giving you that satisfaction, and the scheme aren't gonna make it to Ignition to arrange that for you like they could last month. You can cost me all the title shots you want. That's a drop in the ocean compared to what I'm gonna take from you on the 31st. Tick-tock, bitch.
Pierre Cinema holding nothing back. Steven Gilberg having the intervention of local staff to make sure Pierre Cinema couldn't get his hands on him. You know, that 2-week probationary period between them has run out. And chaos could very well descend between those two at any given moment. It looked like they were ready to go right here and now. But what is more important, what is more frugal at the moment, is this Ignition contender, Nick Flawless, looks to go for a World Heavyweight Championship shot for the first time in his long, illustrious career. Marching down the ring. Looking to meet him on the other side. This man needs little to no introduction here, folks. A former 2-time KPW Tag Team Champion.
Fight.
One half of the Boise Boys. One of the meanest, toughest, baddest men in that locker room. The record breaker, David Rush. And he's looking to give Nick Flawless a rude awakening here tonight, kicking things off with a vicious side suplex. Nick Flawless, he's gonna need to fight like hell if he wants this chance. And we've seen how far some of the men in this locker room will push themselves just to get the luxury, the opportunity to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, let alone get the chance to challenge for it.
9, 10.
What we have unfolding in front of us here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this is very much like a playoffs situation. And what we have at Ignition on the 31st, a 4 corners bout. That's simply a divisional championship per se. Popcorn Papi, Hosway, these are 2 of the 4 men that have already punched that ticket towards Ignition. And one of these 2 men inside the squared circle here tonight will be able to join them at the end of the month. Big power slam from Nick Flawless. Vertical suplex. Right into the corner of the ring. Not a lot of give when you're away from the center. Another big power slam from Nick Flawless. Hooking the leg, looking to put away early, but David Rush not even giving him the satisfaction of a 1 count. Gets right back up to his feet. Big drop kick from David Rush. A drop kick from Nick Flawless. Giving him a taste of his own medicine. David Rush running right into another power slam from Greek Machismo. A 1 count this time, courtesy of our lead official, Slapthigh Jones. And oh my God! Running clothesline from Nick Flawless, turning David Rush inside out. David Rush, he's gonna need a moment to recalibrate his cardinal directions. And Nick Flawless, he is as determined as ever. He is on the money here tonight. Running knee. And Nick Flawless just made a critical mistake, turning his back towards David Rush. Taking the time to showboat the grandstand. You don't want to leave yourself open around the record breaker, David Rush.
Count two.
Inside cradle, and he almost ran away with this victory here tonight. That would have been a quick, swift victory for Nick Flawless, buying himself as much time as he needs to prepare for the big bout on the 31st. And we have plenty of big matches to come at Ignition, ladies and gentlemen. Least of all, the World Heavyweight Championship up for grabs, as Pando will be defending against the King of Stego Style, Corey Sinclair, that very night. And we'll be hearing from the World Heavyweight Champion after this bout. Also still to come at Ignition at the end of the month, the KPW Twitch Championship up for grabs, as Rey Ilusion makes yet another defense, this time against the role model, Tape. And we will certainly have more matches to announce in the weeks to follow.
One, two.
Backslide cover. And David Rush escapes the 3 count once again. An overhead strike from David Rush. Looking to keep the action going, keep the intensity up, keep the aggression high. Reverse sitting armbar onto Nick Flawless, trying to soften up the good arm of Nick Flawless, the one that is much less bandaged up. Nick Flawless looking to go for another running clothesline, another head full of steam.
2,
And he clears the ring.
3, 4, 5.
Flawless looking to head all the way up top and head all the way down to the floor, but David Rush was ready for it. He had his guard up.
10, 11, 12.
And Nick Flawless, he is relentless here. He is absolutely driven like we've never seen him before. Out of 16, both men at least get back up on the apron. Ladies and gentlemen, we here at KPW would like to thank you for inviting us into your homes each and every week here for Warzone. We are on episode 94. In 6 weeks' time, we'll be having a special milestone edition of Warzone, the 100th episode of Warzone. Almost 2 full consecutive years. And we are proud to have made such an impact on you for the past 2 years. And speaking of impact, Flawless Elbow
1,
living up to the namesake. And Nick Flawless has won the Contender. Drilling that elbow like a stake into the heart of the bloodthirsty, the almost vampiric David Rush. Here tonight, Nick Flawless picks up a much needed victory here tonight. He has been trending onwards and upwards ever since he took the fight to Parliament over the course of the past month. And now he gets another crack at Parliament come Ignition, as he now joins Popcorn Papi and Hosway and the World Heavyweight Championship contender that night. And one man that they could possibly expect to see on the other side, depending on how that night goes. Our current reigning and defending World Heavyweight Champion, the Siberian Silver Bear, Pando, as he stands by at our interview booth.
That's the competition I've been craving. Look at how hard those two fought just now. This is everything I have hungered for. Which brings me to you, Corey. How many shortcuts do you think you can take to get to ignition? How many? It's gonna take every fiber of your being to take on a champion of my size and caliber. I have the size, the strength, the speed, the agility. If you think you're gonna fight any more stubborn than I will, you'll be in for a rude awakening. If you want this World Heavyweight Championship, you're gonna need to earn it. Earn that win like the Popcorn Papis and the Nick Flawless of the world. You take even one shortcut, Corey? Just one is all I need to break you even quicker. This is the closest any of you will get to this World Heavyweight Championship, because as long as I have my stride, you'll never, ever be able to wrestle this out of my grasp.
And speaking of Popcorn Papi, not Pappas Pando, Popcorn Papi, he is looking to get his first crack at World Heavyweight Championship gold. He's already earned his shot for ignition, and he is just riding that wave of momentum over the course of the past several months. He's looking to weave all of his dreams together in one fell swoop. Earn that proper title shot, take down Parliament with him. But what is expecting him on the other side of the ring here tonight? It's one of the newest, hottest, and freshest signees here in all of KPW. The Diamond Dragon himself, Opulence. We saw him in action last week on War Zone in a triple threat bout, including K-Dog and a man that would go on to win that bout, Tape, as he now has a match at Ignition for the KPW Twitch Championship. Opulence put up one hell of a fight that night. He was very often double teamed in that bout, being the most unpredictable of the three men. A whole lot of research you could do going into this bout when you take on the Diamond Dragon. But he is looking to make an impact here tonight, and if he could defeat Popcorn Papi here in singles action, it might just be a small fork in the road for Popcorn Papi. But for Opulence, this would simply mean the biggest victory of his career. This could be a real breakout year for Opulence in 2026. He could really shift the landscape in his favor. Irish whip into the corner. Popcorn Papi, you never want to try and back him into the corner. Big enziguri counter from Opulence. He's keeping the pressure up. But that is exactly the kind of environment that Popcorn Papi thrives in. We've seen him go up against all odds and still walk away from each and every fight. He knows the grace of losing with dignity.
4,
He's made some
5,
extremely notable victories as well.
7.
He's the only man in KPW history to win a ladder match. Our one and only ladder match that we've ever seen here in KPW, all the way back at Vendetta in July, where he took on his former protege, Hosway, a man that he will now have to face once again at Ignition as part of that championship contender. A lot of interwoven history coming together in one place at one night, one very fateful night, January 31st, our next monthly special event. Big back heel kick to the neck of Popcorn Papi, courtesy of Opulence. And that's not a bad idea from Opulence whatsoever. He's done his history here tonight. He's done the homework. He knows the storied history of Popcorn Papi and that neck of his. We saw the First Nation just a couple weeks ago trying to exploit said neck of Popcorn Papi. They had to go through some serious trials and tribulations to get that reparations bout back at Toxicity. Big forearm strike from Popcorn Papi. A strike below the belt courtesy of Popcorn Papi. And we know he's more than willing to get his hands dirty. And I think that's a part of why these people here tonight love him so much. The Kumite faithful, they have been here every step of the way. For this man's career, the peaks and the valleys. Popcorn Papi, he's got a lot left to give. And Opulence is here tonight with a whole hell of a lot to prove. Arnoa tie-up Irish whip. Opulence hangs onto the ropes, bumping the brakes on Popcorn Papi, letting him know that he is in control of this bout. He is working at the Diamond Dragon's pace. One thing that Popcorn Papi absolutely needs to look out for is that padded chandelier lock. That signature crossface from Opulence. A real submission specialist. And speaking of submissions, Popcorn Papi attempted to go for one of his own there. R elbow from Opulence. Headlock attempted. Side suplex counter. Popcorn Papi looking to snap, he's looking to crackle, and he's gonna pop here tonight.
1, 2.
What a hell of a way to unhinge the jaw of Opulence, and the wave of momentum is still hanging 10. He's still going far and wide with it. Popcorn Papi has been damn near unstoppable these past several months. His determination, his wit, his motivations, they are absolutely unwavering as he gets closer and closer to achieving his dreams. He's done so much with the Twitch Championship over the course of the past year. He's done so much with Bunker Hill, and he has one more mission with Bunker Hill, taking down Parliament in that Ignition Contender on the 31st. But he's not going to be the only man that wants to get his hands on the likes of Hosway. Nick Flawless is going to be right there with him. And it'll be every man for himself. But tonight, the victory lap continues for Popcorn Papi. Congratulations to Popcorn Papi on one hell of a victory here tonight. And coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, tag team action. As the tag team champions, the BamBus, Ricky Rhombus, Bam Dardino, they team up in non-title action against the likes of the Inkfluence, Big Bernard, Headband Tommy Tanks. And that is all to unfold in just a moment's notice. Tag team champions marching down to the ring first and breaking some serious tradition here. But that should just tell you, that should just indicate to the world just how motivated, how reinvigorated these two men are. Pulling off that buzzer beater tag team championship win 2 weeks ago on War Zone to close out 2025. Achieving their dreams, their aspirations, their goals. And this team here, the Inkfluence, they look to try and get back on the same page. They've been in quite the amount of peril themselves. And it could all change with a crucial victory here tonight. Plenty of viable tag teams here in KPW. Plenty of credible tag teams looking to take a swing at the BamBus at Ignition. We know that the First Nation has been one of the most prominent teams as of late. We know that the Boise Boys have been making one hell of a resurgence as of late. The scheme always in the public eye, especially after what they did at Toxicity to Pierre Cinema, screwing them out of the World Heavyweight Championship that night. They were, of course, the previous tag team champions, holding on to that gold for only 48 hours. Getting any chance to pick up tag team victories will get them closer and closer to their goals. Big Bernard with an early advantage here. Scoop slam on Ricky Rhombus. And a big low blow from Big Bernard. You know that Big Bernard has no qualms whatsoever with striking below the belt, doing whatever he can to take advantage of a situation. And in comes the Dark Horse Headband Tommy Tanks. Awaiting him is a former World Heavyweight Champion, the Blue Chipper Bam Dardino. Wishbone split. Bar and elbow denied for a Headband Tommy Tanks. A snapmare from Bam Dardino. And the training, the dedication that the BamBus have really put in over the course of the past several months. They've really straightened out their priorities since that crushing defeat they took at Euphoria to the team, the very unlikely team of Jedi and Pierre Cinema. Everybody thought for sure that these two men's careers, they'd be stuck in limbo, taking each other to the grave. And yet here they are entering the new year as KPW Tag Team Champions. One hell of a bounce back for the BamBus. Forearm strikes from Bam Dardino. Tandem offense as Big Bernard gets caught in the middle. And we're going to have plenty of action still to come. We still have another Ignition contender in our main event of the evening. Of course, featuring the Monarch, Oliver English, as he looks to take on a mystery opponent. But also still to come next week on War Zone. The KPW Board of Directors have authorized this to be released. We will be seeing the KPW World Heavyweight Champion, the Siberian Silver Bear Pando, in singles competition in our main event next week against that big 300-pound woolly mammoth in the ring right now, Big Bernard. Also to come, Pierre Cinema has very specifically requested a match against one of two members of the Scheme for next week's edition of War Zone. And speaking of tag team action, we will be seeing plenty of that next week, as well as the Boise Boys, David Rush, Hollywood Hannon. They will be taking on Slarty, Shuko, the First Nation.
7.
One of these two teams could very potentially take on the BamBus at Ignition. The Inkfluence, they can really throw a wrench into those plans if they pick up a victory here tonight. That'd be some serious bragging rights if they could score a victory over the current tag team champions. Irish whip. Ricky Rhombus getting sent overhead. A little over-under action courtesy of headband Tommy Tanks. Big enziguri from Ricky Rhombus. And now it is Ricky Rhombus in the driver's seat once again. He's bought himself enough time to tag in Bam Dardino, and this is a good strategy from the champions. Making frequent tags, keeping each other fresh. They both understand at this point in time that it is a marathon. There's no need to sprint to the finish line. They could get it if they conserve their energy just a little bit better than the Inkfluence here tonight. And they'll be able to prove to the world just why they are the best damn tag team across all of KPW. Big scoop slam from Bam Dardino. Noggin knocker. Big Bernard tumbles into the turnbuckles. Bam Dardino falling off that vertical base. And speaking of verticals, check out that vertical suplex from Big Bernard. Inside cradle attempted by Bam Dardino. Big Bernard pumping the brakes on him. Giving Bam Dardino one hell of a check there. A good boot to the gut. Another calling elbow tie, waist lock transition. Back suplex from Bam Dardino. And he's looking to follow it up with a wishbone split. Take out the legs of the big man. And he won't have any power to fall back on. He's going to have to get desperate. He's going to have to get out of his comfort zone. If Bam Dardino can take out the legs of Big Bernard. Those two big support beams holding up all 300 pounds worth of Big Bernard. It could have been an absolute peril here, and that is why Headband Tommy Tanks rushed to make the tag. Big spinning wheel kick from Bam Dardino. Big standing clothesline. And this is what we were saying about the strategies being employed here. Ricky Rhombus getting the tag, the BamBus making their frequent tags, and it looks like the Inkfluence are trying to employ the same strategy. Irish whip from Headband Tommy Tanks, back elbow knocks down one half of the tag team champions. Headband getting a bit frustrated in that ring here tonight. Another back elbow, but Ricky Rhombus stays on his feet, but not for long. Big suplex. And Ricky Rhombus just slowly trying to inch his way closer to his tag team partner. Get Headband Tommy Tanks as far away from Big Bernard as possible. Running Bulldog. Ricky Rhombus taking the time to showboat, trying to get inside the head of Headband Tommy Tanks. Trying to go after the big man. Another back body drop courtesy of Headband Tommy Tanks. Big Bernard gets the tag. Looking to pick up the scraps from before. Bam Dardino pulling Big Bernard into the line of fire from his own tag team partner. Ricky Rhombus, catapult counter, and he makes the hot tag. With a quick leg sweep for good measure. Big Bernard, that might have awoken the beast inside of him. That might have pissed off the big man. And a nasty side suplex from the woolly mammoth himself. I swear all the hair on his back, on his chest, and even his arms, he's like he's wrestling in a damn ghillie suit. The BamBus, even those tags frequent. Headband Tommy Tanks rushing in to provide his tag team partner an assist before he could get disqualified.
1, 2.
And now Bam Dardino, he is all alone. He is as far away from his tag partner as possible. And Slaptie Jones, he is losing control of this bout very quickly. Swinging neck breaker. Big choke slam from Big Bernard. Was that the Bernard bomb? BamBus getting the right idea here. Double teaming the big man. A double suplex on the 300-pounder. Running power bomb from Bam Dardino. Following up with a quick leg drop. And there's been so much talk here tonight about everything that Bam Dardino's achieved. Don't forget, Ricky Rhombus has also achieved championship glory here in KPW. As a former hardcore champion, he knows what it's like to be a singles champion himself. Much like Big Bernard, a man that also was at one point the KPW hardcore champion. possibly the shortest reigning champion in KPW history, barely holding on to that hardcore championship for a good 24 hours. And that is a record that has still yet to be unbeaten. Schoolboy from Bernardino. And a tag is made to Ricky Rhombus. Big Bernard, he's trying to intervene for his tag team partner, but the referee, he's not letting him get anywhere close to the BamBus. Ricky Rhombus, Bernardino making the absolute most out of that situation. Picking and choosing their spots. With swift execution, a bridging German suplex. But fortunately, for headband Tommy Tanks, his feet were reaching the ropes. And that allowed him to get one hell of a rope break in. Irish whip reversal from Ricky Rhombus. Big back body drop. Big Bernard doing everything he can to restrain Ricky Rhombus from getting to his tag team partner. Fisherman's Buster.
1, 2.
Cover.
Count 2.
And Tommy Tanks holds on. We've seen the Fisherman's Buster put away many combatants here in KPW. And that is exactly why they call Headband Tommy Tanks a dark horse. You never know when you could place a good bet on him, but it will always pay off. Inside cradle. Things are spiraling out of control inside the ring. Referee Slapthigh Jones, he is at the verge of throwing out this bout. Ham offense from the BamBus. Bernardino gets the tag. Ricky Rhombus operating as a human shield for his partner. Big headbutt from Big Bernard. And now it's the Inkfluence that are on the same page. And it's truly been the first time in a while that they actually have been on the same page. But it's clear that the bond that the Inkfluence have with one another is different from the BamBus. The BamBus, they treat each other as close to being brothers as possible. The Inkfluence, they share that common goal of becoming champions. And the tag team championship route is just the most convenient route for them at this point. Big headbutt from Big Bernard. And Bernardino. Looks to strike at Headband Tommy Tanks. Looking to strategize, come up with another plan, come up with another means of offense here. Bernardino, he could be putting an end to all of this. Headband Tommy Tanks a long ways away from his partner. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And now it is Big Bernard making the save for his partner. Stun gun courtesy of Ricky Rhombus. Looking to go up top here. Is he gonna follow up with a big splash? Double knees! That is certainly one hell of an escalation from Ricky Rhombus. For quite some time, he was touted as the shape of the future. He was a future prospect here in KPW, but is more clear than ever before that the future is now. Ricky Rhombus, Bam Dardino, they are living in the present and they are getting the absolute most out of it here tonight. Headband Tommy Tanks trying to rake the eyes of Ricky Rhombus. Quick sweep of the leg. Reverse suplex. An elbow to the back of the head from the middle rope. And we're starting to see Ricky Rhombus' more aggressive side, a more sadistic side at times, coming through and coming out. We've seen that on display a handful of times in the hardcore division, when that was still a thing, when that was preceding the American Championship division. We now know who holds that prestigious piece of championship glory. A 400-pound monster of Manchester. Another big man, another beast just like Big Bernard Papyrus. We know he'll be in action at some point next week on War Zone. And Headband Tommy Tanks, he's being absolutely manhandled here by the BamBus. Bridging German suplex. And the champions make an emphatic statement here tonight. The BamBus is here to stay. We get another good look at that German suplex. The high angle that Bam Dardino had employed for the move. All the damage that was accumulating on Headband Tommy Tanks, the tandem offense from the BamBus. It was just too much for him to bear at this point. It was just so overwhelming at this point. We get another look at that German suplex. And if you get another good look here, you can see how close he was to reaching the ropes with his feet. It saved him before, but it couldn't this time. But one thing is for sure, next week, we have a tag team championship contender on our hands. The First Nation, the Boise Boys, one of those two teams will be advancing to Ignition to take on these two men that have emerged victorious tonight, the champions, Ricky Rhombus, Bam Dardino, the BamBus. And coming up next in our main event of the evening, the Monarch Oliver English takes part in the Ignition Contenders. We have no idea who he'll be taking on here tonight, but we are going to find out in just a moment's notice. But as I understand, we have some footage that the production truck has gotten a hold of here. And it seems like we got some cameras rolling regarding Parliament, specifically Hosway and Tori, a woman that's been holding a Hosway under special supervision. on the orders of the Monarch. Let's see if we can get some footage about all that.
This is algo into plan, Parliament is on the come up for 2026. I've been making a name for myself, proving my worth no matter what our leader thinks of me. And now I get to.
And now you get to shut your mouth and listen. This isn't your initiative, Hosway, it's mine. Oliver told you that because his olive branch wasn't enough for you, you gotta hold your weight now. You've proved your worth to me, and that's why you're still around. You can beat Solo for our vision, and you can bust up Nick for my honor all you want. You wanted championship glory, right? Well, you're gonna get a chance at ignition.
There is going to be a contender shoot vote at ignition? That's the 411. Who else is gonna be in this match?
I got insider info, Hosway. There's gonna be a four corners match at ignition to determine who gets a future world title shot. You've made the cut, of course. But Popcorn Papi earned his shot too, and now Nick Flawless is involved as well. You need backup in that bout, and we've handpicked somebody to make sure Parliament has all the cards stacked in their favor on the 31st. You've done your part, Hosway. It's time for the Monarch to do his.
And now it all makes sense. The mystery combatant. We should have known that something was afoot here when it came to Parliament. They were able to finagle and politic their way to the board of directors to handpick an opponent for their dearest leader. And this could very well be a cakewalk. For the Monarch, Oliver English, making an absolute mockery out of this contender. And who the hell is that? Did he pull him from the local lumber yard? I gotta say, they at least picked somebody that looks the part. Tim Burr. I believe that's what the nameplate said for him.
Fight!
Tim Burr's got one hell of a chance on his hands here, and he looks like he's not gonna comply with the Monarch so easily. Going for a low blow. Could you imagine the embarrassment, the upset that could be on the hands of Parliament if this supposed hand-picked opponent goes rogue and actually gets one over on them? Tim Burr, look at the size of this man's arms. A real outdoorsman, a real lumberjack. Big back body drop on Oliver English. And ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder, this is our main event of the evening here tonight. Our second of two ignition contenders to conclude the show here. Back elbow, courtesy of Oliver English. It looked like Tim Burr was gonna take things to the extreme here. Introduce a steel chair, and now it's the Monarch with that folding chair in the ring. Big haymaker from the Monarch. Oliver English trying to outpace Tim Burr, and this would be one hell of a way. One hell of a fast pass for Oliver English to get another world title shot, and he would have backup in this bout as well. With Hosway at his side, this could be an ace in the hole here for Parliament. And all Oliver English has to do is just lock in here tonight. Baseball slide to circumvent Tim Burr. Arm drag and screw. Another heavy haymaker. Look at the size of Tim Burr. Look at the muscles. Look at the definition of this man. 6'3". He's gotta be upwards of 260, 270 pounds. He is absolutely jacked here tonight. But Oliver English, he is a man on a mission here tonight. He is a man looking to achieve that great vision. And so long, Tim Burr. That is the Big Ben. And Oliver English, Parliament as a whole, have made a mockery, an absolute mockery out of this Contenders bout. And there we have it, folks. We have our 4 contenders in the 4 corners bout on the 31st. Popcorn Papi, Hosway, Nick Flawless, and now join them to give Parliament a slight edge, a 50% chance of walking away with a world title shot. Looking to go up against Pando or even Corey Sinclair again. It is now the Monarch, Oliver English, looking to join them and looking to get the opportunity for revenge.
Oh no you don't, Oliver. You think you could pull a fast one on our board of directors by hiring a fall guy to boost your stats and get to the 4 corners match at Ignition? You're gonna have to do a whole hell of a lot better than hiring local talent and getting them a quick payday. You may not have broken a sweat fighting him, but believe me when I say this. You certainly will when you face your real opponent right now.
The real opponent? Who is meant to be the real man? Oh my God. Oh my God. The real opponent was the misfit, Bob. All 300 pounds of might. Oliver English, he's trembling in his boots. He thought he pulled one over on the board. He thought he had them outsmarted. And it looks like we had a plan B for this scenario. Plan B for Bob. And now we have a true main event here tonight. And look at Oliver English trying to scurry away from the misfit.
2, 3.
He thought he was gonna have the easy night here.
5.
He thought he was gonna be able to walk away from
6.
this.
7. 8.
Take the victory
9.
from Tim Burr here. Bob with a replica KPW World Heavyweight Championship belt. Clocking Oliver English with it. Board buster from the Monarch. And I I think the desperation has settled in. He knows exactly what he's going to need to do. Oliver English, he's like a caged animal in there against Bob. Now think of the combinations that this could create. If this really does backfire against Parliament here tonight, the chances of seeing Bob and Pando in the same ring for the World Heavyweight Championship, Bob and Corey Sinclair in the same ring for the World Heavyweight Championship, and that's if Bob goes all the way. And Oliver English, he's getting desperate. He's trying to pull anything he can out of that crowd. And the Kumite faithful, they're just not letting him have it.
9.
Big haymakers from Oliver English. They go for a big clothesline. Heavy forearm action from the Monarch. Bob staying one step ahead of him, showing his agility on full display here. This man was the final KPW Hardcore Champion. He is a former KPW Twitch Champion. He held that concurrently and at the same time as the KPW Tag Team Championships. He's the only man that has ever been a double champion in KPW. He held on to that Tag Team Championship for a good 6 months.
11. 12.
And he is also the first ever American champion, and he's got a giant wedge of cheese. I don't even think Bob realizes what he's got in his hands there. And it's probably for the best in his mental state and his own regards. If he just doesn't think at all, if he just acts like he has been for the past 3.5 minutes, taking the fight right to Oliver English. All he's got to do is just keep his eyes on the prize, let Oliver English make all the mistakes. Big dropping suplex from the 300-pound misfit. Almost towering over Oliver English here tonight. Coming in at 6'8", 300 pounds. Big Samoan drop from the second rope. And a big splash to follow it up here. And Oliver English gets the shoulder up. Oliver English was trying to have these people hoodwinked and fooled, bamboozled even. And a man like Tim Burr, a relative unknown, he was going to be able to push him to his limits. And Bob is looking to break a Monarch here tonight. He's looking to take the crown off the head of the king. The dearest leader of Parliament, Oliver English, as he tries to create any sort of distance that he can, and he might get plenty of it with that missile drop kick. Running senton from Oliver English. Heavy haymaker from Bob now. Big drop kick from Oliver English. A second one to try and push him back. A third one, and Bob's still on his feet. And another vicious haymaker knocks back Oliver English.
2.
Not the smartest idea to try and get in a striking exchange with a man that's damn near twice your size, Ollie. If anybody is well equipped to deal with giants, it would certainly be Oliver English. Look at two of the men that he's employed as part of Parliament, Kruger, and of course the current KPW American Champion, Papyrus, waiting in the wings, waiting a next order at all times. And we know that Papyrus has one hell of an order for next week as he looks to soften up Nick Flawless. His singles action on Warzone on behalf of the Monarch. We'll also be seeing the KPW World Heavyweight Champion in action, Pando taking on Big Bernard. We'll be seeing the Boise Boys take on the First Nation in the KPW Tag Team Championship contender. And Pierre Cinema will be in action. His wish will be granted. He will be taking on at least one member of the scheme. In just a week's time, big plancha over the top rope, down to the floor, landing right on the Monarch. And that is something that just makes the Misfit oh so threatening, oh so frightening. And look at how desperate, look at how underhanded Oliver English has to play things just to level the playing field. Oliver English, big pile driver.
Break.
We're gonna hook the leg, but Bob was right there at the ropes. Big throat thrust, courtesy of Oliver English. Ollie going on top here, drilling the knee into the sternum of Bob. And a knockout shot from Oliver English. A strong right hook, opening him up for the Big Ben.
2, 3, pinfall.
And Oliver English has earned his chance for real this time. After trying to bribe his way into the Ignition Contender, Oliver English was forced to dig down deep. He was forced to rely on his own personal instincts to get the job done himself, to get the job done right this time. And he had one hell of a mountain to climb here tonight. And now he can march on to Ignition with Hosway in tow for that four-way contendership bout. Oliver English, Hosway, Nick Flawless, and Bunker Hill's Popcorn Papi, all vying for the chance to challenge for World Heavyweight Championship glory sometime after Ignition. And that is all the time we have here tonight, folks. I've been Tape Styles, the only man that can call the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And we'll be seeing you in 1 week's time for the next edition of Warzone. Good night, everybody.